That would be the uh, yeah, the holy grail as it were, particularly with nuclear fusion, right, in the years to come. But for now, yeah, nuclear energy would be a great source. Any non-intermittent green energy source would be great. I guess some people might not define nuclear as green or clean, but we do. Liz, I don't know how you guys see it, Infinium.
Yeah, I know that's a great point, and I think that it's very clear from the data that the industry wide for decarbonization and to meet our climate goals needs a nuclear solution. One of the challenges with nuclear when it comes to e-fuels is the policy. Europe, for example, under RED II, certain member states are favorable to nuclear, others are not. So to qualify as an RFNBO or renewable fuel of non-biological origin, sometimes the policymakers have strict requirements that are wind, solar, hydro, or biomass. And so therefore, even though nuclear is low carbon, it wouldn't necessarily qualify as an e-fuel. And so I think it's a really great question and something that we continue to look at. And as policy evolves, hopefully there's a place for nuclear in the broader e-fuels market.
I think a point that I could make here is from a European legislation perspective, if we are taking electrons off what's referred to as a low carbon intensity grid, or people will say a green grid for short, then some of the rules around RFNBOs are relaxed. So let's just examine what I mean there. In Norway, a huge amount of hydropower is produced all throughout the year, and it's effectively a green grid. The CO2 intensity of the grid is very, very low. It's around about 95% plus hydro, right? If you go to Sweden, there's a huge amount of nuclear in the mix, and also in Switzerland. And the carbon intensity of these grids is incredibly low. And the implication there is if you're going to do electrofuels in those locations, that the additionality clause or the additionality requirement to put in additional wind and solar or hydro to build your electrofuels facility is dropped. So you can basically pull those green electrons off the grid straight away. And if you think about the consequences of that, it means that you can pull them off continuously and you don't need to invest in new wind and solar capacity. So the idea of using green grids, low carbon grids, which, by the way, nuclear power does qualify for the green grid definition, in Europe, certainly I think is quite attractive. And when we look at the most optimal places to build electrofuels in Europe, we're kind of learning that it's Norway, the Nordics, Finland, Sweden, potentially down in Iberia, Spain and Portugal, where on the other hand, wind and solar are very, very cost effective. So we're really seeing a polarization, certainly in the European market, about where it's most effective to produce those green electrons, and it's most effective to operate the electrofuels facilities. And Norway certainly has a little bit of a head start there due to their green grid, and some other places I think will soon follow. The French grid is not far away, by the way, of being green grid because of all of their nuclear intensity, but it's not quite there yet. And here in Germany, we burn so much lignite and brown coal, we're never going to get there, not in a million years. And we've just shut down our nuclear plants. I mean, come on, guys, what are we thinking?